welcome, welcome.
Orion Henderson from Dallas, Texas. Fly Eagles Fly.
Dallas, Texas. Welcome, welcome. All right, guys, listen, we're going to go ahead and get this thing started. Let me go ahead and mute the lines really quick.
About to jam out in here.
I hear that. I hear that.
Let's turn up.
You can unmute yourself. All right, I'm muting the lines. All right, guys, listen, welcome to our Tuesday training. My name is Dr. Arnold Bogarty. I appreciate everyone being on, guys. We have about 83 people on right now. Normally, we don't start till we have 100. But listen, we can't force people to train. We can't force people to stay around the campfire. Okay, that is a decision that you make. It's a decision for the committed. You guys see that we're here every Tuesday. I don't miss a training. Rob doesn't, Raisa doesn't, Bruno, Natalie, Chris. I mean, David, and we're always on. Why? Because we know that training is the key. All right, staying around the campfire is the key to keeping warm. It's the key to being able to go ahead and build this business effectively. Why? Because we're on here, and you don't know what you don't know. And so the information that's passed on these trainings could be that nugget that just goes ahead and just, lights that spark to your business. And it's happened with me. It's happened with Rob. It's happened with a lot of us, that one nugget that completely turned around our business. And guys, I learned something every training. There is not one training that I've been on, in my 8 years of being in this industry that I haven't learned something. Even when we have the testimonials come on, even when we have trainers that, maybe been in the business like Miss Natalie Rodriguez for 2 years, I learned just as much from them as they do from me. And so you never want to miss training. You always want to stay around the campfire, guys, because that's what's going to get you to the top. And that's what we do every Tuesday night. 10 p.m. Team Relentless training. I send out a lot of reminders, but I feel like I shouldn't have to. I feel like when you get onboarded and you come onto the team, that should be the first thing you put in your calendar. Okay. You should be looking forward to Tuesday nights. Why? Because this is local team training. Okay. This is specific, for us, looking at the numbers, hearing from agents on our team, what you need to be trained on. And then we train specifically on that because we definitely take training serious. All right. Because guys, listen, we do this for you. All right. Our team is everything to us. And that is why we conduct these trainings. All right, guys. And so I'm excited. Normally we have a recognition, a top 10 list. Our senior vice president right now, Xavier Marrero, he's out there supporting one of our ESDs at a PBR. And guys, listen, we want to go ahead and give a shout out to every agent out there, whether you're here in Tampa, whether you're in Texas, California, up in Mass, anywhere, who's got out there and heard the call and started doing PBRs. I mean, seeing those pictures, okay, seeing you guys stepping out of your comfort zone, starting your own local meetings, whether it's just 1, 2, or 3 people in that meeting, that's how we started. I remember my first Glory Days presentation for this company. I think we may have had 5 people there, 5 people. And then it just grew, then it just grew to 7, to 10, to 30. And then, last Thursday, we had a little over 100, okay? So guys, big things start, at grassroots, okay? So if there's no meeting in your area, guys, you like that spark, you go out and do it because there's so much satisfaction more when you start it and you see it grow, you cultivate it and you build it. So I challenge everybody out there, conduct your PBRs, get out there, whether it's in a house, whether it's at a Starbucks, whether it's at a restaurant, a hotel, however you want to do it, however big that area is, guys, listen, the action starts when you take action. And that's what we need everybody to do, start take action, because listen, holiday season is here, but it comes to an end quick. And then we go into 2022, guys. And 2022 is definitely the year of the harvest. And listen, if you're planting seeds right now, that means you're starting those PBRs, okay? You're developing presenters. You're getting people out of their comfort zone. You're having them share their stories. I tell you what, that 2022 harvest is going to be a lot greater. But if you start in 2022, guys, then that harvest is delayed. And so that's not what we want to do. We want to start planting seeds now. And I see a lot of you are out there doing that. We see that. We just want to commend you. Keep doing it and let's grow together. But guys, listen, I'm going to get myself out of the way. I have a trainer that's come on, and it's a young man that I have a lot of respect for. I met him 3.5 years ago. Wow, almost 4 years ago when I joined. And he's always been a servant leader. Anytime, whether you're in his organization or you're not in his organization, you know that he is Mr. Reliable. Anytime, whether, like I said, whether he's busy, he always makes times, whether you need advice, he's humble. And I've learned to, and I've gained a lot of respect for him. I remember when we started the first presentation that he did, I looked at Xavier. I was like, who the hell you got up front? This guy talks fast. I can't understand him, but he was up there stepping out of his comfort zone. Now, he's a trainer of thousands, national events. All right. He's going to be training up there. And I don't want to say Boston because I don't want you Massachusetts guys cutting my head off. Okay. So we're going to say Worcester, or I still can't pronounce it. All right. He's going to be in Massachusetts. All right. And he's going to be training on stage. And I'm looking forward to learning from this young man. Okay. But he's our vice president. All right. The vice president of vice presidents, Rob Santiago. Rob, are you there with me?
Yeah, man, loud and clear. Can you hear me?
I hear you. Take it away, my brother.
4 years goes by fast, don't it?
Man, does it?
Yeah, man. Again, shout out to Arnold for stepping in. I appreciate you, man, and your kind words. I know we've grown a lot over the last couple of years, and I'm happy to be alongside of you and X and all the top leaders, man. We're blessed to be in this position. And just like we always say, it's always an honor every opportunity that we get to be on here and to train the team. So we're just about shy. We're one shy of 100. So let's turn the energy up. Right, I have some music on. I wanted to be able to put some flames in the chat, man. I gotta wake everybody up. A lot of people been asleep. They've been sleeping in the chat. They've been sleeping in PBRs. Turn up. 2 people got off. Hold on, we're supposed to add people. What's up? What's going on? There you go. They're starting to come back on. Look, I wanted to be able to come on here today with a different type of level. Y'all know I'm always filled with energy regardless, but I wanted to be able to come on this way just where you guys can relate to me. I don't got the fresh suit on right now, right? I barely got a shaved face, regular t-shirt. This is the real Rob, fitted cap, twisted back. So I'm gonna take you guys on memory lane with me today. We're going to talk a little bit about, discouragement. We're going to talk a little bit about energy, 2 things that kind of fit. To me, they fit hand in hand. You know what I mean? So right now, I know there's a lot of people that are in a discouraged state right now. Might have lost the title, might have lost agents, top leaders, PBRs were empty. Run through your 100 list and didn't get who you wanted to get. Like there's so many different reasons that people can get discouraged. But what I want to do with you guys today, I really want to take you guys through my story. It's gonna be powerful. I'm gonna share with you guys from when I first got started with this company to where we are now, but I want to take it back because some people don't really know my story. So you might laugh at some of these pictures, but you're going to really know who Rob Santiago is before vice president. First of all, I was born in Puerto Rico. So that little guy in the hat, that's me. I do not play the guitar. I wish I did. That was my grandfather. Shout out to him. That's my beautiful mama on the right side of me. I was born in Puerto Rico. My father's from Puerto Rico. My mom's from New York. I was born there, and by the age of 1, or right before 1, I was already living in New York City. My mother's side of the family is from New York City. My father's side of the family is from Puerto Rico. So you see on the right side, that's a little older Rob, right? I was probably like 12, 13 years old at that time. Cousin Brandon's over here. Brandon's on the call right now. I'll show him this picture. I was like, Brandon, we were super young. My cousin Eric and my cousin Rich, this was the family living in Harlem. So I lived in East Harlem as a child, man, from the age 1 to about 13 or 14 years old. So this was probably about a year or 2 before I moved to Florida. This is where I'm from originally. That project building to the left of me that I was in a suit in, pretty brave. You don't really see people with suits in the projects in Harlem. But that was a time that we got a chance to go back to New York. I actually had X and a couple leaders with me. That apartment, if you guys ever hear me talk about my family and my PBRs, about how there's 3 apartments in my family that's over 50 years old, that's the lobby of one of them. That apartment is older than my mom, and they still rent it to this day. That we have been stuck in them elevators, pee in the elevators. My aunt lived on the 7th floor, carrying groceries up the stairs, like all type of stuff. On the right, 311, that was where I grew up. So this is probably like a couple streets over. This is a building that I grew up in. So as you see the trash in the front. Like I haven't went back in so long. So I was able to go back and just, it was a humbling experience, man, to go back home and really be like, man, I remember these gated windows, and I remember these, you know, these dirty floors and the street and everything that, you know, kind of molded me as a young man. Because guys, there's a lot of you guys that could relate. You know, probably grew up without that other parent. Some of you guys don't have parents at all. Maybe your grandparents raised you. You know, again, depending on the family, the environment that you were raised in, right? So many things that people use as excuses, right? Am I lying? Put a 1 in the chat if I'm telling the truth here. There's a lot of people that leverage, she said 106 in Lennox. We out here. You already know, Natalie, but think about it. So many people, man, I've had so many opportunities to create excuses and use what happened to me in my life as an excuse. So I'm gonna get deeper into this. Again, my environment of where I grew up. You Google East Harlem, it ain't gonna be nice reviews, right? Puerto Rico, y'all already know. So being from both of those environments, it bred me up, man, to really, you know, understand and I see my family struggle a lot. Like I've seen lights cut off. I've seen the family heat up the apartment with water on the stove, rats, roaches. Like even if you clean, man, it's just the environment. You know, walking down the street, I walk to school every day. You know, looking behind my back, I done got robbed. You know, I done got my shoes taken. I done got my chain snatched. I done had, you know, gang members jump me for no reason. Like so many things in this environment. And I was an only child, so I ain't really had a big brothers and cousins around to really protect, man. I was one of the older ones too. So being able, coming from this environment, it could have been an excuse. This is me moving to Florida. I lost some good friends to gang violence. You know, I lost some good friends to motorcycle accidents. This was as a teenager, man. I mean, like 14, 15 years old. Like all these young dudes around this tree right here bring back such harsh memories for me, because imagine, you know, as a teenager, seeing some of your friends being taken from you, you know, and that was me to the right. That's high school, Rob. The fit is still twisted back, nothing's changed. That was me as 14 years old, fresh out of New York in band class. And I don't think I took band. So I don't know if I was skipping or not, but don't judge me. But I'm just showing you guys, again, this you used to seeing me in a suit. For most people that are new, like really coming from my background and the type of experiences that we went through. Imagine living in New York with your whole family. And one day your mom is like, we moving to St. Petersburg. I was like, what is St. Petersburg? I don't even know what that is. Tampa, Orlando, Miami, the major cities, but what is St. Pete? Away from my family, away from my friends. I don't know nobody in the city, right? Another excuse to start doing some bad stuff. I'm not gonna say I was the most innocent teenager when I showed up, but got through high school, barely made it out. I mean, like my diploma don't say how long I was in school. I was in school for about 4.5 years. I had to take a summer class to get through high school, because my senior year, my junior year, again, I don't know if you guys can relate to my story. At 14, I was already working, full-time job, me and mom. You know, every paycheck I got went to the bills. I wasn't buying clothes. I wasn't out there. A lot of kids are privileged, man, at 14, 15, 16 years old to work and be able to save their money and do the things that they wanted to do. I was playing the dad role, the husband, at a young age, you know, and then I became a dad at the age of 18. That beautiful little girl that you guys see, I got the call at work, unfortunately, that a baby is on the way. At 18 years old. Mind you, I was still a baby, right? You see the baby face back there. That was before all the grays and everything that came by. And then a couple years later, I had my son, my little man. Y'all know that's my twin. That's Davian and Cynthia. So since the beginning, man, it was me and them. After my daughter was born, and I'm gonna get into some deeper stuff now that most of y'all don't really know about. But I found out some very tough news when my daughter was 3 years old, 4 years old. I found out that I was not the biological father of my firstborn. And it destroyed me, man. Like it was, I don't wish that on nobody. Not no man, obviously it can't happen to a female, but if there's any guys on here that experienced something like that, you know what I'm talking about. And any guy that's on here that never experienced about that, you have no idea. That's, most guys are probably thinking in their mind, I would have been in jail, I would have been this. And again, another excuse to go down a bad route. So that little girl, mind you, I named my daughter after my mom's, Cynthia. That's my mother's middle name. So my mom never had a daughter, so that was the goal, was that was her daughter too, right? And then my son coming into my life, man, he really saved me. Shout out to both of them, because when people think about a why, this is it. It's tough. Like I couldn't have this conversation 4 years ago. Every time I seen a little girl, it'll break me. Even my son, I look at him and I'm like, oh my God, like don't ever DNA test him, even though I know he looks exactly like me, because I don't ever want to go through this again. Again, going through that heartbreak was tough, right? Most people would be like, yo, I wouldn't have made it through that. I don't know how you got through that. So again, in the beginning, going through this before FES, this before UWE, before anything, at an early age. And then another thing hit 3 weeks later, same month. I don't even remember what month it was. Again, I'm just having a conversation with everybody. I hope you guys could take that in. But when my mom came through the door 3 weeks after I found out about my daughter, which she didn't know, by the way, she came through the door and told me that she got diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. That's mom and pop. Again, same month. I do not recall what month it was. I forgot how you say that. Like you just get rid of it, right? But it was a tough time, because not only was my mom going through the C word that never happened in our family before, she didn't know about Cynthia at that time. I kept it from her for a whole year under wraps. So obviously at that state of mind, imagine hearing that type of information. So in my mind, I'm thinking, if my mom knows about this, it could kill her. They could take her away. She'll be completely heartbroken. But I gotta hold that in, be strong for my family. Again, there's certain things that people go through that they have to be strong for. This was 2 of them. You see me as a bald-headed guy, so I'm not too worried about when my hair goes away. But that was me representing my mom to the right. And this was a big fight, man. My mom went through 7 breast surgeries, double mastectomy, if I'm saying that right. So she lost both of her chest. She lost her ovaries. She had to do a bunch of surgeries, 7 surgeries later, man. And I was there for every single one. Every chemo, even working my full-time jobs, even splitting up with my kids' mom, everything that I was going through, I had to be strong for her. I had to be strong for the kids. So why I'm getting into these stories, right? Because somebody's going through something right now. Your kids are watching you, your family's watching you, they're counting on you, and you discouraged. It got you down. It's got you in a funk, in a state of mind that you're like, this, why would I do anything else? How am I supposed to keep my energy right when all of these things are happening to me? And then you start getting into the why me's, right? You ever heard the why me's? Why my daughter? Why my mom? Why I didn't have the dad? Why did I grow up in this environment? Why did I move to Florida alone? Why did all of these things happen? And people start going in that, right? Questioning your faith. I'm sure some people on here can relate and different testimonies, but I wanted to get deeper into this to really see you know how you go through certain things, right? This was me going to AmScott. I was working at AmScott Financial right at 19 years old, 18 years old. AmScott took me in. A lot of ambition. I ain't never worked customer service before, guys. Before, I used to detail cars and Chick-fil-A. I used to make Chick-fil-A sandwiches and detail cars. That's what I used to do. So AmScott was a big step in the right direction. This picture I remember specifically because, as you see, that's a pink helmet I'm putting on. That was a little girl. The radio station came out. We was doing a helmet giveaway. And I remember right after this going inside and breaking down. Like, my hair was still off. Nobody knew about what was happening with my daughter. I had to keep that inside and still show up to work. I want to make that point. Think about what I just told you. And you still got to show up to a job and smile. The customer is what they were, regardless of what problems you got, I had to leave it at the door. And still smile and still go out there and produce and lead a team. I was running 9 people at that location at 18 years old. It was a 24-hour location after 6 years of working in this business. So think about how I felt. At 18, 19 years old, I bought us our first home. I bought my first house when I was 19 years old. Big blessing. Financial literacy, what I didn't grow up with, but taking those steps, secure credit card. So when you talk about what value we have as a business, secure credit card was one of the steps that got me to a house at 19. Credit my rent. Those type of services could really help people at a young age, really like change things around. Because think about 6 years, man. I gave my kids' mom, stay-at-home wife at the time at 18 years old to like 20 something. And to see it all go away and crumble after, imagine having a family, a house, a daughter, you know what I mean? Everything that you could dream of at 19 years old, and everything get ripped from you and still got to show up to work like nothing happened. Right? So again, someone's going through something like this. This was me going from Amscot to Bank of America. I had to leave Amscot. Why? I was working 80 hours a week. 80 hours a week I was working. That's 2 jobs. That's 2 jobs for 2 people, full time. Overtime was awesome, but there was no time. I couldn't even deal with my situation because I had to go to work, right? So going to Bank of America was a big change for me. I went from making $70,000 in income a year to $39,000 in income a year. I lost a lot of money going to the bank. But what did it give me? More time. 40 hours a week, holidays, right? The pay cut. When I sold my house 7 years after I got it. So probably about a year into Bank of America. And that was what helped me. I sold the crib. So I ended up buying a condo for my mom, 2-bedroom condo, right? 1 bedroom was for her. The other bedroom was for my kids. So I slept downstairs in the living room on a futon, Asraisa, very hard futon, right? Another sofa, and all my belongings that I had left was in a small closet downstairs, but making sure that my family was comfortable. Still going through it, trying to figure it out. This was before UWE. This is before everything. So on my breaks, I don't know if anybody could relate, but that was me in the back. I was like, yo, I can't wait to get out of here. Because I got so much I got to handle. Like I can't even focus at the job. I got so much stuff. That's me writing on the computer, starting to do court paperwork, starting to do all of this kind of stuff that I wasn't ready for that. But when are we ready? Right? Life is going to hit us regardless. So going through all of that, going through everything. That was the first home. That's my first house, guys. 3701 Queen Street. $90,000 property I bought in 2010. Sold it 7 years later. Made my first 6 figures in this picture. That car in the back, the house I got rid of because I didn't want the memories anymore. I couldn't even look at it. I couldn't walk inside. Got rid of it. It's a huge day. Was able to pay for all of my mom's bills for a whole year. Support her through her process. I didn't go out there and go crazy with the money. It went to what was more important. And again, a huge blessing because I made certain decisions at an early age I didn't know my mom was going to go through cancer and be a year out of work. Who was going to help? My dad's not here. My family can't help. Ain't nobody in my family got good credit. Like, what are they going to be able to do? Got to step up. The whole reason why I'm going through a story is teaching you guys about how to be able to overcome discouragement. Like, there's a lot of people that stressing things right now that are not that big. A lot of people are feeling discouraged because the business may not seem like what it wants to be for you right now. Everybody's seeing top leaders and 6-figure earners and cars, and you putting in that work and you're not seeing it. You're hearing it's a slow season. You're hearing anything, right? So I want to talk with you guys about, I wanted to start off the training that way and kind of let you guys really know about who I am as a person. Because people see us as leaders in this company 4 years in, Arnold, David, X, Raisa, you know what I mean? A couple of the other leaders that come up, and they see us and they think that we're lucky. They're like, man, I wish I had your life. I wish I could live how you live. But nobody knows what we went through to get to where we're at right now. And this was all before UWE. So when people come in and they start having success, you got to understand how deep their why is. When I came into this business, I wasn't looking for the income. I wasn't looking for good credit. I had good credit. Bought a house at 19. I didn't need a credit score. My credit was fine. I showed up. When I got started with this, it was more of a time freedom. How many people are in this for time freedom? Put in one in the chat if you in this for time freedom. Or you just in here to make a check. You know what time freedom meant to me? I hope I'm hitting some people here with this. My kids moved to Tampa. After everything that I went through, my kid's mom was still the victim. Moved to Tampa, took both of my kids with her. 45 minutes to an hour away. I got out of work at 4:30. My kids got to school at 1:30. So now when we're talking about court, I'm about to become a weekend father. Fellas, you probably know what I'm talking about. Wasn't having it. Big part of my why. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I was going to lose my kids after having them 7 days a week to now 2 days, if that, and pay child support and not have them. After the type of father that I was to them from the beginning and what happened to me, how I went through everything, sometimes they don't care. So when I talk about discouragement and when people come to me with the word discouragement, you got to come ready. Because I'm the one to be like, listen, you don't want to trade shoes. It's crazy what we've gone through, and everybody got a story. Not saying that my stories are any worse than anybody else's. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm just here to show you guys that a breakthrough is not easy. And it takes a lot of time, right? I want to talk to you guys about more. What is discouragement, right? What is the definition of discouragement? A lot of fear, right? A lot of loss, lack of direction. I know me and Brandon were talking about this earlier. Lack of direction and purpose. Man, is this really for me? Like, am I meant for this? You start questioning yourself, lack of control, right? You think, man, everything's out of control. I feel like I can't control what's going on right now. Unhealthy relationships, that's a big one. I was in that super unhealthy relationship. And I had to make a decision, even though I stood in that relationship a whole year after what happened to me. I had to make a decision. Loneliness kicked in, ingratitude instead of being grateful. It's kind of hard to be grateful when you're going through those stages. All you're thinking about is the why me's. How can I get through this? Is my mom going to make it? Where's my kids sleeping at? Who's around them, right? There's so many things that came through my mind. And that undefined identity, I felt like I lost myself during that time. I'm one of the happiest people you ever meet. In the 4 years Arnold knows me and all these people know me, I've always got a smile on my face. It's very rare that I'm upset. Very rare that I get irritated or angry. Why? Because it takes me back to places that I don't want to be. But I had to refine myself, right? I don't know if anybody can relate to that. I had to find myself. I started doing things to take myself out of the discouragement. Never thought about committing suicide, but didn't want to be here. I don't know if anybody can relate to that. I didn't want to deal with my issues. I didn't want to deal with what was going on. I just wanted to disappear. I wanted my identity to disappear. I didn't want nobody calling me, and I just wanted just that guy right there in that picture. That's how I felt. Dark, lonely, nobody to turn to because nobody can relate to your story. Who I'm going to go talk to about losing my daughter and going that? How many of my friends went through that? Right? So when you don't got nobody to let the steam off for, it could go a lot of different directions. It could go into drugs. It could go into alcohol. It could go into all different types of things. And I thank God to this day, man. Never overdosed on anything. Don't get it twisted. I done put a couple shots down. Trust me. We don't went through a couple bottles in that time. But to find yourself, it was tough. Started getting into the fitness, started working out, listening to music. A lot of things are just that I enjoy. So what I want, and this part here, I want you to write down a couple things that make you happy. Like what's something that makes you smile, makes you happy. If it's your kids, if it's time with them, if it's music that you listen to, dancing, eating, like whatever it is that makes you happy and brings joy to your life. Because that's a lot of negative things out here. I'm sure you guys can agree, especially what's going down. Pandemic, everything's happening right now. Prices are raising on everything. Income's going down. But what makes you happy? And it's not about money. To me, it was seeing my mom cancer-free. Amen to that. Still being able to be around my kids, even though I went through everything that I went through. Time freedom, like all of these kind of things. Baseball, I love baseball. I love playing sports. I used to love lifting weights. I had bigger muscles than Arnold once, but they went away. I'm in a different shape now. You know what I mean? But again, to go through this, you got to make a decision. I had to make a decision because when I went to Bank of America, I lost money. So I had to make it up. I had to get a second job and then a third job. My second job was medical marketing. My third job was delivering newspapers from 1 to 3 in the morning. So let me tell you what my schedule was for people that say they don't have time. 8 to 4:30, Bank of America. 5:30 to 7:30, medical marketing. What was it? Midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning to 4 or 5 in the morning, 7 days a week, newspaper routes. Why? Because I couldn't sleep. Every time I look in my daughter's room, I break down. Every time I look in my son's room, I break down. I look around the house, I was by myself. It was crazy. So I went and I worked my way to sleep every day. I would sleep 2 to 3 hours a day, if that. Pushing myself. I didn't know how I was going to be able to handle it, but I had to make a decision. I was like, yo, my kids, you taking my kids now too, on top of everything that I just went through? Now I'm working in this job and I'm stuck in here and I'm not making enough to be able to support child support, this, that. It's crazy. When this company came into my life, I made a decision. I said, yo, look, I'm going to go all in. And it's not for me. It wasn't for the income. It wasn't for nothing. It was just the time freedom. I was thinking I have to be available at 1:30 to get my kids. Because if not, I'm going to lose the time that I've worked so hard for. And we all know, like David says it all the time, kiss, spell, love, time. Time is something that we never get back. You could replace the house, the cars, the money. But my kids only turn 5 once. They only turn 2 once. I will go all in. I made a decision. I won't be discouraged anymore. I will go all in. You see this, I will. I had to make that decision. It was me. Nobody else did it for me. There was nobody there to be like, Rob, maybe you should go this route. No, I had to figure it out. A lot of you guys are leaning and looking for somebody to get you out of a hole. Sometimes you got to stop worrying, looking at everybody and just focus on you and figure out how to get out of that hole yourself. Make a decision. I eliminated any excuses. All the excuses were out the door. I became a problem solver. A lot of you guys, a problem happens and you're like, mentor, this, that, like somebody's, no, become a problem solver. Make that decision. Make the decision that your work is going to determine your outcome. Not nobody else is on your team, not your upline, not your sidelines. I'm not going to blame anyone else for where I'm at and where I'm going. I'm running my business, me. I'm taking in control and I'm going to the top by any means. By all means necessary, we're going to figure it out. I don't care if this means losing more sleep. I got to stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning and wake up at 5 and do it all over again every single day because the time that I needed with my kids, that's it. A lot of you guys think you know your why. Man, it was tough, but the decision had to be made. So this was my own picture that I took. This was the day that I decided to join the business. And I told myself, I'm not going to work for nobody else. I'm going to go out here and work this thing. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I never did it before. I didn't come from this industry. I don't know nobody from the industry. Everybody around me thinks it's a scam. I don't know how I'm going to figure it out. But I made a decision. And I haven't turned back from that decision in 4 years. Some of you guys make a decision today and tomorrow it changes. Today and next week it changes. Today and next month it changes. You didn't make a decision. A real decision don't change like that. You really decide to change your life, you're going to go all in by default. If you're serious about really making a decision. So are you really serious about making a decision? The decision that you made, were you serious about it? Or were you playing games with it? After that decision, the first picture I want to show you to the left over here, top left corner, that's an event that I came to on October 12th, 2017. I didn't get started until December 23rd, 2017. So I want to make that very clear for the people that's like, man, I invited someone to a webinar. I got them on a training. They came to an event and they didn't sign up yet. X brought me to this event. I didn't know who Bobby Kim was. Just came to support. I'm that type of person. I had no business in that room that I thought of, right? This next picture here in the middle at the bottom, that was my second presentation. This was the first one after me becoming an agent with the company. So this was in December. And then the one all the way to the right, you see me doing a selfie thing, right? There ain't nobody there taking pictures of me. That was my first training, Fort Lauderdale. Me and X drove all the way to Fort Lauderdale, my old Honda Accord. We stood in a hotel with no AC. Y'all probably heard that story before. We didn't have no money. We didn't know how we was going to figure it out. But we went and we made it happen. And that event fired us up. That was the first time I ever seen Alfred Nixon. He sat right next to me. I didn't even know who he was. Small, skinny kid. I'm like, yo, this is the dude everybody's talking about that's making all this money. I just see his little fingers going. I'm like, man, he need to text me something. And I was quiet. I didn't say nothing. Back of the room, I was in the last row. But then we came back and I'm sure you see some familiar faces here. This one right here, the bottom left, you see Jackie Rivas, one of my sales directors. Shout out to her. She was one of the first ones who got started with me. You see the size of the room. There was 2-3 rows in there. And then you see the one at the top in the middle. Shout out to Courtney. Shout out to Gino. Day ones, right? You could probably spot some more individuals from the team in these pictures, but huge salute to those individuals because they've seen this thing grow from the beginning. So again, going from making that decision to now putting the action behind it. Just going, showing up. Some of you guys got local events in your area, you're not going. You got webinars at home and you're not showing up. But you want to make $1 million a year. You want the time freedom because there was probably 121 comments of time freedom on here. But you wouldn't put the time in. Does that make sense? In order to get the time freedom, you got to put the time in. These are pictures of me putting time in. Mind you, I still had my jobs. Mind you, I was still going through my problem. My daughter didn't become mine afterwards. My mom didn't become cancer-free at that time. The bills didn't slow down. And sacrifices. Probably every event there, my gas tank was on E. And you probably see the same suit jackets, blue and black. That's all I had. Going from those events to going from the back of the room and studying my mentors. A lot of you guys don't do that. You show up to a webinar and it goes in one ear and it comes out the other. You don't learn with an intention to teach and apply. You just get on. You show up to an event and you don't learn and apply. You just show up. When I went to these events and I watched Bobby and I watched X, I was studying these individuals. All I have to hear, anybody hear that the person in the front of the room makes the most money? So what you doing looking at the sides, talking to people that's broke? I'm looking at the front. I'm looking at Bobby. I'm looking at X, at any leader that's up there because they have what I wanted. The time freedom. But guess what? You know what's crazy? X never taught me how to present. Bobby never taught me how to present. As Arnold said earlier, I didn't start off the best. But I want to show you where we started at. Talking about PBRs, this is how we got down in the trenches. Top left, someone's living room in Spanish. My Spanish sucks. Figuring out. We didn't have Spanish translation documents at that time. There wasn't no webinars. There wasn't none of that. We had to go figure it out. An empty restaurant with my laptop. The TVs didn't work. Panera Bread up here at the top right. Starbucks down here in the middle. Dunkin' Donuts all the way to the right at the bottom corner. Everything that you see here is me speaking to prospects. It wasn't Bobby. It wasn't Xavier. I didn't have X come check my PBRs for me. Or go, hey, X, can you come and present with me in this restaurant in St. P an hour away while you are in Tampa? Nah. I had to go do that. Because I learned from here. But if you're not showing up here, virtually or offline, how are you going to get here? So when I talk about investing time, because the time freedom that I have right now, I wouldn't give it up for the world, but I had to go through time in order to get it, learn it, apply it. So this is where this hits. How many of us right now feel like, yo, I'm making so little progress after so much effort? How is it discouraging you right now? I had success early in this. My first 3 months, I was able to accomplish a regional sales director position. It was a great run. But in those 90 days, understand what I was going through. It wasn't easy for me. I was in the hardest part of my life. But why am I? The blinders were on. You ever seen the horses when they race? They're not looking at the side. I wasn't looking at nobody else. I didn't care what nobody was doing on the weekends. I don't care what party you was going to, what y'all was doing after work. I came home and I grinded. And we were able to accomplish that. I was able to walk away from my job in my first 3 months, which is not likely, guys. When you hear these stories, people hear RVP in 6 days and this and that, that's not normal. So don't get discouraged by other people's success stories because you don't know the price that they paid before they got in this company. So when you see people come in here and they do very well, that don't mean that it means that they had experience. They paid the price somewhere else. They planted the seeds in the dirt and another company, in another industry. It could have been banking. It could have been car sales. It could have been anything. And they were taking the steps to start building something. And when they came here, they killed it. So if you that person that been here for a year and you a field trainer, bro, you're going through a process. Be proud of yourself. You're a senior field trainer, sales director. When we first came into this business and we seen those titles, they were gods to us. A sales director walked on water. A vice president? What? Dream come true. There wasn't a pinnacle title at that time. But what were we doing? Farming. You guys are going through a process right now, farming. That's why I took this picture. Do you see anything growing right now? Nothing. It's dirty. Seeds being planted. This is where the hard work goes. This is the webinars. This is the PBRs. This is the trenches right here. But guess what? Little progress, it feels like. After them first 90 days, I stood as a regional sales director for 26 months. 2 years alongside of these leaders. They all know. They all see me show up every time. They all see me not give no excuses. They all see me do trainings. They all see me present. They all see me do all of that. And I was still stuck, which I don't use that word. I don't use stuck or stagnant. I don't believe in it. I wasn't stuck. It just wasn't my time yet. It wasn't my time yet. My time was coming. The farming was being done. The watering, getting rid of the pests, all of that stuff. It was a process. 2 years of growing. I talk about the diamond all the time. We talk about the butterfly and the process that they go through. In the cocoon, you by yourself. You going through it. And X taught me this. You can't help a butterfly out the cocoon. You open the cocoon, it kills it. Some of you guys are going to your leaders and having them open the cocoon for you, and you expecting to fly, but no blood is rushing to your wings because you didn't go through yourself. I salute X. As hard as, because some of y'all like, yo, I wish he could mentor me one-on-one. Be careful what you ask for. I love my mentor to death. I love him, but the way that he mentored me was, you're going to figure it out. I'm not handing you nothing. We were building together. And I'm grateful for that because it made me who I am today. It put me through that process because when vice president, all of these things came, how are you going to handle it if your upline just gave you vice president right now? 500 agents, all of that stuff. Are you ready? You can't even present your own. Are you ready for that? You want the title. You want the time freedom that comes with it, but nobody wants the responsibility of building it. They just want it given. So again, I salute him for that because nothing that we built was given to us. Straight grind and hard work. Imagine going through that process and seeing this screen. Put a 1 on the chat if you've seen this screen before. So y'all know what I'm talking about. It's a lot of ones going down. Can't this be discouraging after all the work that you're putting in? It's a hard screenshot to look at, especially after a long week. But guys, after a year or 2 years in this business, I went almost 8 weeks without getting paid in this company because I went into management mode. I went trying to help everybody and everybody else's organization and then focus on mine and me. So I'm working hard as hell for everyone and no money was coming into my account. Not saying don't help people. Be a selfless leader, but you also have to be selfish. You have to be selfish to you and your organization as well. They deserve your time. They deserve you pouring into them. But you can't force them to the water, right? That's a lot of y'all like, yo, I'll be trying, but it's not working out. Phase 1, you got to stay on phase 1. You don't think this was discouraging to me after 2 years? Think about it. Would you have stood? Then the next thing happened. You see that car behind me? Where it's at? That's a repo lot. After being a regional sales director for almost 2 years, maybe like a year and a half prior to the 24 months. I walk outside. Raisa's here with me, right? I brought her to Florida at that time. And we walk outside and the car's gone. It's not that the money wasn't there. That's what's crazy about it. But something happened, car's gone. But you see my face and I'm smiling. Who the hell in the repo lot is smiling? They got to be a crazy mug. But we always say crazy people make crazy money. I knew that that was just another obstacle the devil was trying to throw in my path. On top of everything that I'm going through, and I'm watching these leaders climb up and I'm sitting in the same spot. Now you take my car? Discouraged? Maybe? But look at the shirt I'm wearing. I was repping. Shout out to Cherie. I think she made me this one. And my chanclas, the legendary chanclas, sweatpants, and the FES t-shirt. And I went to that repo lot happy as shit. You know what? Because I knew that this was another step for me to hit R&R. It was coming. It was another part of the process. Somebody would have gave up here. Somebody would have gave up in the 26 months. Somebody would have gave up when mom had cancer. Somebody would have gave up when they found out the news. So when you sit there and you say that these leaders are lucky to have what they have, you have no idea. You got to keep fighting through this thing. As discouraging as it can be, you got to keep fighting this thing. Because that's the only way you get to the top is fighting. Nobody at the top gave up. They just kept going. even though these things were happening. So this is what people look at and what they really see. The success, the top of the iceberg. Everybody want to be there. But you don't see everything else that goes down underwater. And when you down there, it's lonely. It's cold. Ain't nobody saving you. Ain't no life rafts out here. But you see the list, disappointment. How many people been disappointed in their business? It might have been their best friend that didn't sign up, somebody who was doing good, they backstab them. The persistence that you got to go through and hard work and the high risk that you have to take. I took a huge risk at my job. At my job, they told me if they found out I was doing what I was doing, that they would fire me. I fired myself first. I went after it. High risk, high reward, right? Late nights. You see, it says nights, not one late night. Don't complain because you didn't get a couple hours of sleep, not showing up on the calls, not showing up to the webinar, not going to the local event. The struggles, I went through some. Competition, discipline, courage, doubt, criticism, personal failures, adversity, rejection, sacrifices. That's what really happens. These are all the things that you guys have to go through in order to see the tip of the iceberg. So when I'm telling you, how do you go through that? You guys getting some good info so far? Put some flames in the chat. You feeling me, man? Because that was hard to go through without shedding some shit. I wanted to keep this real with y'all. Personal growth is your next step. How are you doing that? Do you got a vision board? Are you planning? You got goals set? Are you the trainings? All of that stuff is included. Learning, we still learning to this day. You know how much money we done invested? You guys get training by top leaders for free and don't join and miss out. And you don't even plug your teams in. We should have 400, 500, 1,000 people on here right now. We've invested time. I spent thousands of dollars in training and self-development. So has X, so has Raisa, so has Arnold, so has David, and all of these people. UWE didn't, or FES didn't pay for our GoPro tickets. No, we went. We showed up. Shout out to our mentor, Alfred Nixon. This was the day that he won his, or he was given his $1 million Hall of Fame in Vegas. So going through all of these struggles and everything, we had to buy the flight, hotel, ticket was like $300, food, just to be in the room with these people. You guys don't understand the energy that I got from this event. Like my leaders tell you all the time, like I came back and did 30 agents in like 20, 30 days. We went crazy with this because it was a bigger vision. And then down here was convention. Some of you guys miss convention. You gonna miss it this year? You gonna miss GoPro this year? Because you can't expect to get to that top of the iceberg if you don't invest this time and money. And you're like, Rob, I don't have the money. We didn't have it either. So what? Sell some stuff. Get rid of some stuff. Do a garage sale. Like, whatever it is that you got to do. I've seen people pawn stuff like, man, listen, when you want it, I don't got to tell you. Control what you read, see, listen to, and who you spend your time with. You become what you input. So guard those gates with care. Who are you reading? Or what books are you reading? What are you watching on a daily basis? Who are you listening to and what are you listening to? And this last one is tough. Who are you spending your time around? Who is it that you're surrounding yourself when you're discouraged? Think about these things. All of these things are important. So what I want everybody, if you don't got these books, make sure you go get them. These are a couple of books that are going to give you the mindset and teach you what it's going to take to make it in this business. Eric Worre's GoPro, gotta have it. I got them everywhere over here. Your first year network marketing, prepare you. And you see it says your first year, not your first week or your first month. Just want to make that clear. If everyone's reading the same thing. Your first year in the industry and what you need to understand what's going to happen. How to win friends and influence people. Another great one. And then how to build network marketing leaders. Big Al, he's a legend. These are all books I had no idea about. Self-development. All of these books taught me something to get me a step further in my business. Each one of them. Not counting the self-development that I do on a regular basis. Eric Thomas, Eric Worre, Inky Johnson, Grant Cardone. And you know what's crazy? How we attract things. You guys see, manifestation is real. I'm sure, I hope y'all believe that. I've been watching Eric Thomas since I was in high. He was my online dad. He jokes about this sometimes. He said he raised a lot of men on YouTube. I was one of them. Real talk. I couldn't wait to meet this man one day. I never thought it was going to happen. Eric Worre, that's the GOAT. Like, I thought I never going to see him. Grant Cardone, Inky John. You know what's crazy? I've seen every single one of these people in person because of this company. I've seen Eric Thomas twice because of this company. And Arnold was there. I was like a big groupie when I see him, bro. I was so happy. I was so excited. I was maintaining my composure. I was like, I hope the guys don't see me, but I'm probably sweating right now. Like, I'm so happy. My soon-to-be wife is next to me. I was like, I can't believe it's Eric Thomas. We found him in the mall. And we talked to him. And he's asking us what he should talk about. Exes like you, Eric Thomas. Like, what are we supposed to tell you? Seeing Eric Worre live. Seeing Inky Johnson live. Seeing Grant Cardone I seen Grant Cardone and Eric Thomas and Eric Worre at the same GoPro event. Man, that thing was powerful, bro. I wish we could go back to. They need to have that same event over and over again. It was so dope. But some other things that got me through. Music, lifestyle, healthy lifestyle. Like all of these things are important, man. Like, what gets you going? What gets your energy right? Because what we will convert from discouragement into being able to overcome that and bring energy to your life. Like, what energy you put out is what you're gonna attract. So if you're sitting here discouraged, you're only attracting people like that. If the leader's discouraged, the team will be discouraged. You got to go out there and show it. Put the discouragement away and bring the energy. Because what do we always say? High energy equals high income. But if you're not bringing no energy to what you do, you're going to end up with a paycheck like you guys seen on the screen. And there was a lot of ones on the screen. That's not a good feeling. So what gets your energy right? Me, waking up in the morning, I love listening to Eric Thomas and all these people. They get me going. I used to listen to music, certain music, or watch certain things. I don't do none of that no more. And I used to think all of this was BS. Real talk. I used to think all the self-development and this and subconscious mind, all that mumbo jumbo sounds cool. How do I get the money? Bro, you got to grow. You grow, your income will grow. So how are you going to continue to grow? Self-development. Keeping your energy levels high. I love listening to music, man. I'm singing all over the house all the time. And eating better. It's important. All of us, we don't do that. Sometimes you be like, why my energy so low? Because you eat like crap. You don't work out. You don't do nothing. So combining all of these things are going to help you start to build your energy up. Start somewhere. Prayer walks. Go talk with your team. Go walk with your team. Go do something outdoor. It don't matter. Something that's going to get your energy and being around energy. Shout out to my team. They don't know, man. Like, they're one of the reasons why I am where I am. They're beyond my why. And I didn't want to say it in the wrong way, because without them, I wouldn't be here. But what I mean is that they're one of the reasons why I didn't give up when I wanted to. I had a really serious conversation with my wife, right? I was about to give this thing up. After 26 months of running and working my butt off, I had a conversation with her and I'm like, yo, I don't think I'm gonna do this no more. Anybody felt like that? Let's be real. I was like, yo, I don't think I'm gonna do it. But you know these faces right here at the top? All of them. They depend on me. They look up to me. They took a chance on me. Your team is taking a chance on you, even if there's one person on your team. That's your team. So shout out to them, man. Because without them, I wouldn't be here. And they know how much I love them. We get into fights like brothers and sisters. We go through it. But because of them and because I didn't want to let them down, that's where I'm at. And shout out to my mentor, because again, that was all of us at convention at the bottom. And when we first came to convention 4 years ago, there was only 6 of us. Huge salute. This next year, we need to go take over 1,000 minimum in the building. I'm calling that early. But because of this process that I went through, self-development, going through that process, and I say that word process a lot because that's what this is. To the right, I had a chance to sit and take a picture with all the new VPs from that last year. This is my 4th convention. So for 3 conventions, I've seen everybody pass me, walk the stage, get their rings, get their titles, get the cars. I've seen all of that. And I clap for every single one of them. They know me when I'm at convention. I'm the loudest in there. I'm jumping up. I'm on the chairs. I'll jump on the damn table to show you how much love I'm gotten for y'all up there because I know how hard it is. But when I sit here and I tell you that your breakthrough is not easy, it takes time. Will you give 4 years? I'm going into my '21. But in my 4th year, we hit VP. The third year going into 4th. We were able to break through 26 months, and in a 90-day run, we crushed the ESD. We stood at ESD at 60 days. 4-week volume month, we hit ESD. We doubled 25 to 50. The next month, we hit R&R. The next month after that, we hit the 6 figures and vice president, same day. Everything that I wanted in the beginning when I signed up, December 23rd, 2017, before all the local events, before I went to the trainings, before all that, this was the goal. This was it. I dreamed about it. What if I would have gave up on that 26th month? So if you're sitting here right now on this call and you're like, man, I don't know if I'm going to keep doing this. What if you keep going? What happens if you don't stop? You can see yourself on the stage holding a 6-figure ring. I got to walk the stage 3 times. So the 3 years that I never walked it for what I really wanted, I got to accomplish that all in one time. You never know when God is going to bless you. Test and testimony. He's not just going to give you what you want. You got to go through it. You got to trust him. You got to have faith. I have faith beyond belief. I knew that it was coming. I just didn't know how I was going to do it. So guys, when I tell you that you could change everything around from bad relationships to hardships to financial stuff, everything that you heard me say in the beginning, you could be in an empty room. That was us going to Massachusetts for the first event in Mass. Nobody was there but 2 people. All those chairs were empty. You don't think Raisa was discouraged? She had me show up. She had Xavier show up, and we had Roberto Torres show up. 3 people took flights to Massachusetts to that room on faith. But then because of those sacrifices, if you look to the room on your right, that's a room full of 6- and 7-figure earners in a $6 million mansion in Orlando with Alfred Nixon and all the top leaders. So think about where you can go in 3 years, 4 years, not 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It takes time. But look, everything that you want is there. Guys, I can't, man, I thank God I hit the title. I got a wife. I built a bigger family. Everything that I ever dreamed of having that I thought was never coming. I didn't want to be in another relationship after what I went through. I would have stood single for the rest of my damn life. I didn't want no more kids. I didn't want to go through what I went through. I didn't want another house. My family was torn apart. Why would I start another one? When I tell you that you could change your life around completely. But guess what? Even now, it's still not easy. Think it's easy with the wife and the kids and the title and the responsibility and the car and all of that. It looks dope. But once you achieve it, it's also maintaining it. It's not easy, guys. It takes a process to be able to get through this. It takes a process to be able to go from, that was a car that I was driving. Y'all seen it when I sold my car, when I sold my house. The front didn't look like that. I was still driving that car around the PBRs and meetings and just like that, crashed and everything. Somebody backed into me in a red light and drove off, and me and my son were stuck in there. And I still drove it. And the reason why I got my Benz in silver is so I could remember what I went through. When I look at it outside, I'm like, yo, I remember the Accord. I remember having 4 quarters in my glove compartment to put gas if I could. So I'm talking about sacrifice. So I need you guys to understand. I hope you guys felt me on this. I don't know if I did it. Oh, well, 11:10, not too bad. But I wanted to get real here. You know, we have these conversations and we talk about things and skill sets and all this stuff, but I got to talk to you about what life is going to throw at you. But are you going to make that decision? What kind of decision are you going to make after today, after this call, on how you're going to move forward with your business and your life? Because you get to draw it out. You're the Picasso. You don't want to get to draw the beautiful painting at the end, but you have to vision it, draw it, make it plain, and go after it. And regardless of what obstacles you go through, you got to overcome them by all means necessary. So this one was a little different, man. I wanted to really get deep with y'all. Thank you for allowing me to get on here and share my story for real. A lot of you guys don't really know these parts about my life. And I'm glad that I didn't break down on this call because I really felt it coming. But man, I just thank God for this company. I thank God for the platform of network marketing. I thank God for my family, my team, my wife, my mentors, the leaders in this team, the people that are on here right now. All of you guys play a part of why I'm where I'm at. And don't lose that. Because some people get to certain titles and they forget. They forget how they got there, who helped them get there. I never forgot who helped me. That's why I show up on the trainings every single time. And when somebody needs help, I'm there, regardless if I'm making money or not, because I used to go out there without making money for everybody. And God knows that the time was coming. And we still getting started. We still getting started. It's only year 5. Alfred been in the game how long? 10 years, 12 years? Think about another 6 to 8 years from now. Where will we all be if we don't give up and we keep going and we keep self-development, we keep going to trainings, we keep showing up? Can you guys picture that? Right? So again, man, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just super grateful for the opportunity. Arnold, thank you. You know, everybody who's on here, thank you, man. I'm going to give it back to you on that one, my brother. I'm done.
You know, when I hopped on here today and having the privilege to host this call, you know, I said in the beginning, you know, I never miss a training. And this is the reason why. You know, I've been struggling with things in my life, especially this week. And I had no idea what Rob was going to train on. I had no idea. They just said, hey, we need you to host and we need you to introduce Rob. I was like, okay, cool. And then Rob said something that I needed to hear. You know, if you needed to hear what Rob went over tonight, go ahead and drop a 1 in the chat, because I saw the feedback and I saw in the comments, you know, people tearing up, people saying me too, people, you know, I feel like, our senior vice president, Xavier Marrero, and the leaders have the pulse on the team right now of what we all needed to hear. And Rob, we appreciate you, man. We love you. We appreciate your transparency. I tell you what, guys, I'm the special forces guy. I'm the tough guy. And I tell you what, I shed a tear. You know why? Because I can relate to some of the things Rob went to, but then I also know how much it takes when you're coming from New York and you have a harder upbringing, how it is and how it feels to be vulnerable, because as men, we're taught not to do that. But, people need to hear our story, and people need to know that they aren't the only one. And that's what Rob did tonight. He let a lot of us know that we aren't the only one. And so we appreciate you. I got a lot out, man. I took notes. I'm sitting there writing notes like crazy. The things that you went over. And I remember those days. I remember you being RSD for 2 years, and me coming in and Risa coming in and all David coming in and us passing you. And you had so much grace, and you clapped and you cheered and you shook our hands. And I know it had to be hard, but you knew that the test that you were going through was going to be able to put you in this moment right now where you can share a testimony that our entire organization needed to hear. And we thank you for that. Like, sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for that, because I needed to hear what you said tonight. And it was one of those mic drop moments. Typically I don't say that, but it was one of those mic drop moments. And I don't have really anything to add. I took a bunch of notes and I said I'm going to say a bunch of things, but I think we need to leave it at that. But one thing I want to do
just text me, so I don't know if you wanted to jump on.
No, that's what I'm going to say. I want to go ahead and bring in our senior vice president, Xavier Morel, just for a few closing words. But this is what the team needed to hear tonight, guys. It's not about the X's and O's like we talk about football and basketball. It's about life. And that's what Rob talked about tonight. He talked about life, and that's sometimes what a team needs to hear. And this is exactly what we need to hear tonight. So Xavier, I'm bringing you in, close it out. Rob, love you, my brother, and I appreciate being able to host this.
Man, everybody throw some flames in the chat, man. People always ask me and wonder why me and Rob were so close. The reason why is because everything Rob just talked about, I was the man next to him that witnessed every single thing. I was the individual that seen this man go from having something to having nothing and still smiling ear to ear. I seen this individual sitting here and guys, I'm taking notes, right? Forever a student, it doesn't matter the title, it doesn't matter the income, it doesn't matter the position. I remember this man celebrating everybody's win. He didn't care if you passed him in title. He didn't care if you passed him in income. He didn't care if you was from a different organization. He didn't care if they were part of Relentless, but they had nothing to do with him. That's what made him successful. And I want to just say, Rob, thank you so much for that, because it takes a lot to share that story. I mean, there's embarrassment in there. There's shame in there. There's losses in there. It's so much, and it hits me different because I witnessed this man go through that, to the point that sometimes I used to tell Rob, bro, I want to fight you, bro, because your heart is so big and you're helping so many people, but your paycheck ain't happening. Like, I need you to be a little selfish. I need you to focus on what you need to do to make sure your household is where it needs to be. But I'm gonna tell you one thing, guys. See, at the end of the day, people want to talk about discouragement, and I'm gonna keep this short, but I have to throw this in there. But where does your day really start like? See, 99% of you guys are starting your day by picking up that device, which is your cell phone, and you're going through people's social media, and then you're seeing the best things, because on social media, only the best thing is put up, and you already questioning your life. You already question your success. You already question your process or progress because you're looking at somebody else's. Stop that. I learned very early in the game to wake up, honor my God. To wake up, go work out. And some people be like, well, X, I got a job. I don't have that luxury. Get up an hour earlier. Give 15 minutes to 30 minutes to God, then take the other 30 minutes to 45 minutes and go work out. Period. Because that's what's going to set the tone, right? Arnold sent us a video one time about a lieutenant or a sergeant, and the individual, powerful individual, started like this. When you wake up, make your bed. And the reason why is because that's the first accomplishment that you're going to go ahead and accomplish that day. And it's going to set the rest of the day, the tone, just because of that. I started doing that. And it has changed my life as soon as Arnold sent that out. And it's crazy because Rob and myself had these conversations, and for him to bring up E.T., Inky Johnson, Eric Worre, guys, I shared this stage with E.T., with Inky Johnson, and I was at Eric Worre's house. I shook hands with him. I had conversations. We laughed. We kept talking about each other's watch. Guys, but if I ever quit when I was discouraged, I wouldn't be here today. And I'm going to tell you a quick story. Guys, it took me over 6 months to hit sales director. But with less than 3 months later, we became vice president, RR member, and a 6-figure earner. In 9 months, we made that happen. See, a lot of you guys are about to hit your breakthrough, but because you didn't see the success that Rob did, Razor did, Arnold did, David did, that I did, you quit. You give up. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Focus on your own race. And I'm going to end it like this. This is what's happening, and people don't even understand. And it's happening as we speak. See, you have this Ferrari that starts right here. Then you have, let's just say, like a Jeep. And then you have this beat up car. And then you see this Ferrari take off. And here's the finish line, right? I hope you guys can see this. Can you see that, Rob? Right?
Yeah.
Here's the finish line. There's the whole finish line. This Ferrari takes off. These are the people that hit a VP in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. VPs are high. You're like, man, them people are killing me. Then you have this Jeep that takes off, and these are your SDs, RSDs, ESDs, and they're hitting that in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. And then here you come like this. You're already 30 days in the business. You're still filtering. You're 60 days in the business. You're still filtering. You're 90 days in the business. You're still filtering. You're 120 days in the business. You're still filtering. But see, the reason why is because you're so focused on everybody else's race that you're not worrying about your own race. What you're doing is you're focused on everybody else win, and you ain't celebrating them. So what it's doing is creating hatred. It's creating anger. It's creating bad energy. Because you're too busy focusing on this that has nothing to do with you. You're too focused on doing this because they're doing their business, but you ain't minding your business. And you know what's discouraging to me? That my dad couldn't retire. You know what's discouraging to me? That my brother that did over 10 years come out doing good and nobody wants to hire him. So he has to go back to with the only thing that he knew. You know what's discouraging to me? That at the age of 16, I had to help my best friend die and feel him take his last breath. And his mom comes up to me and say, "What's my son's last words?" And I had to look at her in the eyes and say, "I can't even tell you. I can't even remember. There was too much going on." You know what's discouraging to me? When I have a family member pass away and we can't fly out because we can't afford it. We got to sit here, we got to do other things to try to collect money so hopefully we can bury them. You know what's discouraging to me? That my son looked at me when we became homeless and I felt less of a man and less of a father. See, that was discouraging to me. But what it did, it created that energy. It created that fire that I needed. Gasoline kept being poured into it because at the end of the day, I had no choice but to make it happen for them. At the end of the day, I had no choice because as a man that he can't feed his son, it's not a good feeling. But see, when I started this and we're at day 90 and I'm still just a senior field trainer, I didn't care about what people were doing up here. Because this is what happened. In our marketplace, the Ferrari ended up crashing. Right there. Stop. Then the Jeep ended up running on the side of the road. They lost focus. They quit too early. But we still very, very, very focused. And at month 6, we hit sales record. Wow. 6 months later. But that created the momentum because success loves speed. And all I had to do is keep going out there and doing the activities. Ask yourself, are you out there doing activities? The reason why Arnold had a host today and Rob took ownership of the training last minute, came through a clutch, which he always do. I love this man because of that. It's because Myra and myself are doing a PBR back to back. Ask Myra, how many people did my brand new agent just get in there? 15 people, first PBR. Ask Myra, how many agents did we just close tonight? 15 agents. Why? Because activities. Why? Because discouragement was not an option. Why? Because we always focus on our own race and not anybody else's race. But you know what happened? Like I said, month 9, we hit VP, we hit R&R, and we hit 100,000 in income. Not much. 9 months. See, if I would have been discouraged as a field trainer after 2-3 months, as a senior field trainer after month 4 and month 5, I would have never got to month 6 SC. A lot of you guys are quitting too early. A lot of you guys are making too many excuses. A lot of you guys don't want to follow the system. Guys, there was a blueprint that got created. All we did is follow the blue arrow. Rob can tell you, I didn't have a mentor. Rob can tell you, I didn't have training. Rob can tell you, I didn't have a presentation. What did we do? We became our own mentors. What did we do? We created our own trainers. What did we do? We created our own presentations. But see, a lot of people want this title, they want the income, but they don't want the responsibility, and they definitely ain't trying to do the activities. So I want to encourage everyone. So tonight to tomorrow, go out there and do activities that's going to produce, it's going to bring you income. Stop worrying about everybody here, because you know what? We got to the finish line of SVP within 2 years, which no one in the company at that time did. Ask Alfred. We broke records. So ask yourself, how bad do you really want this? And then ask yourself, what is your calendar looking like? And if you have a 9 to 5, what is your 6 to 12 looking like? If you have a 9 to 5, what is your 6 to 8 in the AM looking like? Because if I do my math correctly, that's 2 hours right here, which you can honor your God. That's 2 hours right there. You can get some exercise. That's 2 hours right there for self-development. That's 2 hours right there to learn more about the company. That's 2 hours right there to learn about the 1 through 10. That's 2 hours there for self-development. And then your 6 to 12, right? Because you got to give the family at least an hour. You got to have that lunch at dinner with them. So that gives you 5 hours over here. What are you really doing with that 5 hours? Guys, that right there is 7 hours out the day. That's another shift. But see, if you treat this as a hobby, because you only want to put in that hour, you want to work every other day, but you want to cry about your situation, it's going to pay you as a hobby. You treat that as a company because when you go to your job, you're staying faithful to your job. You got that boss that's breathing down your neck, telling you what to do, and you're gonna go do it. Because if not, you're gonna get fired. But see, you're scared to get fired here, but you're not scared to get fired here. How does that make sense? Because right here is where dreams are made. Right here is where time freedom is created. Right here is where financial freedom is created. Oh, well, X, man, I don't got that much time. Hey, if you want to continue to use that excuse, you continue to use that excuse. Guys, I just got here and finished all these PBRs. I'm still suited up because we've been doing PBRs back to back. I still got on this training. My man Rob talking, I'm still taking notes. This is not a game. This is my company. This is what feeds my family, not my son. My family. This is what retired my parents. My parents would never have to worry about a mortgage ever in their life. Type of number one, if you have enough heart, if you have enough will to sit here and make sure that your parents never have a mortgage ever again. Type of number one. I want to see who we got in relentless because we relentless. Look at all those ones coming through. Guys, you have an opportunity that's changing life. You have an opportunity that's allowing us now to not just make money in FBS or UWE, but outside of it because we're taking our money and we're making our money work for us. Because at the end of the day, you got your employees, you got your business owners, you have your investors, and I'm missing one more. What is that? Somebody unmute your line. What is that? If you have your employees, you got your business owners, and you have your investors, what are we missing?
Self-employed.
Self-employed. Guys, as an employee, you're not going anywhere. You're going to work till the day that you die. You're not leaving nothing behind. As self-employed, you don't own the business owns you. As a business owner, you might have workers, but it's the exact same thing. You're spending more time there than you would if you was actually working. But as an investor, this is where you get all the money. This is where you get all the time freedom. Use this vehicle to get to that investor. Use this vehicle to open up so many doors that at the end of the day, you got so many keys that you're going to feel like Jay-Z talking about, I got the keys, the keys, the keys. That's where we need everybody to be at. Give me 1 second. Guys, stop taking this lightly. Understand success loves speed. I don't care what holidays we're in. Ask Razor did that ever slow her down. Look at the production that's happening. At the end of the day, it was the activities that were being done behind the scenes. Ask yourself, when's the last time you grabbed that 1 through 10, got in front of the mirror and just practiced it? Because my son told several agents the other day, my dad was going crazy. He was talking to himself. My dad, at the end of the day, was sitting here and just over and over and over repeating the same information. But you know what it did? It created time freedom, financial freedom. You know what it did? It allowed my son to see that when his father hit the ground, that it wasn't a setback, it was a comeback. It allowed my son to see that as a man, it doesn't matter how hard you hit that floor, you can come right back up. And trust me, there's so many testimonies within Relentless that tear me up. Like how Arnold said, I come from a very rough background. And anytime you show any weakness, you was looked at as a goldfish because there was nothing but sharks swimming around. You couldn't show emotions. But I hear some of these stories, and some of you guys already seen me choke up. Some of you guys already seen tears come out of my eyes. So there's no excuse that you can give any of us talking about this is why I can't make it. Because when I looked at this magazine earlier today, I'm looking at this and I'm going through this and I'm like, yo, I remember other companies having a magazine, and as soon as I turn this page, I see Robin Razor. I'm like, damn, I can't believe the people that I know. The people that I know, give me one second, I'll let my brother in. Hold on. That the people that I know are in this magazine. People that, when I first met Razor, was divorce, bankruptcy, negative bank account. Then I look at Rob, I said, Rob was already doing pretty good, but Rob didn't really have time with his kids. Rob loved his kids so much, but he couldn't deliver breakfast to them or even lunch. And then this magazine, then I kept turning, right? I'm like, man, there's some successful people. Who's that dude X with the beard? Let's not worry about him, right? Let's just keep turning these pages, right? Then I see David Marquez and Eureka. And I said, man, I remember having a conversation with David. And David couldn't even get a home. Eureka told him, why did I marry you? And because this opportunity, this man right here, next to his wife, retired her. Then I kept turning the page, right? And I'm looking, and then boom, there goes Razor again with her testimony. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy because we all dreamed about this. And then I go to the top 50, and again, we're gonna forget about the guy with the beard, but I see so many other people here. And I'm like, yo, Razor's the number 26 out of the entire company. That's a top earner. I remember having a conversation when she was driving herself with a U-Haul truck with a negative bank account. And now she's a multiple six-figure earner. Then I get to the last page. And I see this. A million dreams. And at the bottom, I see my picture. Guys, I became the first millionaire in my family the right way. The reason why? Because discouragement wasn't in my body. I learned after reading books and books and books, work on my self-conscious mind, that it was all mental. It didn't matter if I had a negative bank account because Razor had one, and now she's a multiple six-figure earner. It didn't matter if the spouse wasn't too happy because of decisions you made in the past, because now they living real good. It didn't matter if you had what you thought was a career, but yet you're still living paycheck to paycheck, because now those checks and checks just keep coming. It didn't matter what degree you learned, because that degree probably costs you way more than what they're paying you every single year. But now you came to a platform that you're actually making those six figures plus, multiple six figures, the seven figures, where you're changing people's lives in a positive way. So at the end of the day, what is really discouraging you? You know what's discouraging you? It's what you can't do for yourself and what you can't do for others. What might be discouraging some of y'all is other people's wins, which has nothing to do with you. What's discouraging some of y'all Y'all don't even have a schedule or a routine you guys wake up to. Every single person that Rob mentioned earlier today, Grant Cardone, Inky Johnson, Eric Thomas, Eric Worre, will tell you every single day they wake up, there's a routine that they have. I'm pretty sure Dr. Arnold Goldie, coming from the background he has a routine when he wakes up. Ask yourself, what is your routine? Ask yourself, are you really applauding and clapping for the other person when you're winning and you're not? Because I guarantee you, that right there changes the heart. That changes the energy. And when you have good energy like Rob, look how he blew up. I said, Rob, write a letter to God. Write a letter to God. Tell God how you feel. X, how do I start the letter? I don't know. You figure that out. Rob told you earlier, be careful what you wish for, because people want me to mentor them, but this is how I am. I love my brother, but I ain't gonna sugarcoat nothing. I love my sister, but me and her bump heads because all we try to do is make each other better. I was going through some stuff. Yo, Razor's like, X, slow down. X, be careful. I'm hard-headed. Razor, thank you for the advice. I'm out. And me and her bump heads. And then when everything hits the fan, I told you to slow down. I told you to be careful. And look what you're at now. I said, Razor, you know I'm hard-headed. She said, I know, because X always does what X wants to do. So understand, guys, when you put good out into this world, I give you my promise, I give you my word, good is always gonna come back to you. When you start getting discouraged and you don't want to applaud other people, that's hate. That's being a hater. And then I be looking at the chat. I be like, there's so much win, so much production. Why isn't people applauding? But then it's crazy because when you look at the people that are applauding or the people that are constantly winning, even if they ain't had nothing. And the people that ain't applauding are the ones that really ain't doing nothing but have every excuse and then want to take up leaders' times to have the same conversation over and over. But you know how you respect your mentor's time? You do what they ask you to do. Guys, I'm telling you, I challenge every single one of you guys to go out there and do activities. I challenge every single one of you guys to go out there and just look stupid. Go out there and, yo, you don't know what the 1 through 10? Oh, well, go out there and look stupid. You know how many times I looked stupid in front of people before I was able to master this? You know how many times Rob looked stupid in front of people before he mastered this? We didn't never do this before. This was new to us. But our why was so big that nothing was going to stop us. And look where we're at today. So ask yourself, what is your routine? What does your schedule look like? What are your activities? And how many PBRs do you really got scheduled? Look, you should be counting every single day how many encounters you have, how many follows that you do, how many PBRs that you have, how many customer enrollments do you get, and how many agent enrollments you do. Measure those files every single day, and I guarantee you it's going to be reality. And as long as you start stepping it up, then you're going to realize which one you need to go ahead and work more on. Because that's what I do. And then when you see the paycheck go up and then go down, then you look at the numbers, you say, okay, it's because I didn't do enough activities. I didn't do enough follow-ups. I didn't do enough engagements. I didn't do enough customer enrollments or agent enrollments. And then go over there and educate yourself, because it's not Ross or Arnold's duty to educate you or even train you. They're doing this. They could be right now with their wives, chilling, Netflix and chilling. But they're still on this webinar, and it's 11:45. Shit, I didn't even know it was that late. But guys, man, I'm gonna end it that way because I really didn't even know it's 11:45. But I hope this right here is gonna go ahead and take that mindset, whichever mindset you had, that you feel like you're failing. Nah, you ain't failing. You know what? I ain't never met a winner that quit. And I ain't never met a quitter that won. So at the end of the day, continue. Fail forward. You know how many times Robbie and myself done fell? Y'all don't even know, because a lot of them ain't even around right now to tell y'all the story because they already gave up. And all we doing is getting a new wave of people over and over. But the ones that are still standing here killing it, Arnold, David, Razor, Anthony Kelly, Malcolm, myself, Rob, Bruno. Yo, flames in the chat for Bruno, man. Do you guys see this man is like always on the top 5 of the top leaders in the entire company? Do you see how many leaders Bruno done created? This man has a factory of filtrators just popping like boom. I'm like, Bruno, what are you doing? It's crazy. But the crazy thing is, from day one, they ain't never give up, because if they did, when they wouldn't be here right now, and I definitely wouldn't be mentioning your names. So guys, man, I'm gonna leave you on that note. Go out there and make it happen. Shout out to Inez, shout out to Natalie, and other individuals that just came in running. And there's so many others that I might not even know, but I want to say that I'm very proud of every single one of y'all. Even if I don't know your success, trust me, I know the team is growing. So people are out there putting in work. And I apologize if I never took the time to actually tell you, but I guarantee you I'm very proud of you. Because for us to be doing over $1 million in business every 30 days, that means there's some solid people out there grinding and chasing their dreams. And most of these people are making those dreams reality.